So this is a tutorial to basically show you how to start with Adobe Illustrator. For me, it's automatically on my screen here, down here on my toolbar. For you, you might have to click on the search bar and then do Adobe Illustrator, click on it, and then it'll open. If you right click, you can do pin to taskbar so that it stays there for you. So I'm going to start off by doing, if I want to create a file, I have a couple of options here. I can do new file and create my own dimensions. I can come over here and do presets. For instance, like a letter size, postcards, that kind of a thing. And so I'm going to do new file. And most of the time it's going to be set to points when you first start up. And then I'm going to set it to inches. And so that basically is the size of a sheet of paper. I could technically do 11 by 8. And it's still going to do the same thing. If I want to switch it so that it's 8 by 11, there I go. Most of the time it's going to be set to this color mode to start with. And then I've been working in other projects, that's why I'm resetting it. And so there we go. That's a custom one that I use a lot for projects. Usually I'll tell you how to set up a project, whether it's going to be in inches or points or pixels. I try to tell you. We're going to set this up, though. You could set your number of artboards. Artboards are the actual space that you create in. So we're going to create 3 of them and then hit create. Let it do its thing. Okay. So here are 3 artboards. Say if I want them side by side, I can do document setup, edit artboards, and like move one over here. I can get it to cooperate. There we go. Okay. You could also then create more artboards if you want, move them around, do whatever. But that's a startup for just having an artboard. Okay. So say if I want to make sure it actually fits here on the screen, I can go down here and do fit on screen, and it'll pull up an artboard to fit on screen. If I want just to be able to see everything, I can do that. So command or control, because I'm used to doing on a Mac, but control plus zooms in, control minus zooms out. So you can actually see that. So we have over here our toolbar. This basically does everything you're going to need for tutorials in my class when it comes to Illustrator. What I usually do is window, workspace, and I go and make sure that Essentials Classic is selected. A lot of the times it'll just be on Essentials, and this is what Essentials looks like. And that is bare bones. It's a lot easier to have Essentials Classic set up. So on this first one, I'm going to show you how to use just the regular tools. So I'll click on it. I might do Control plus so I can see it better. Scroll over to it. So this first one here, first tool here is our selection tool. And the shortcut for that is V, like Vendetta. And then you also have your direct selection tool, and that shortcut is A. You have your magic wand tool, your lasso tool, your pen tool, your curvature tool, text tool, type tool, line segment, rectangle, which if you click down on this one, has all of the different types you would need for your shapes. If you click down on this one, you can see arcs. Click down on this one, you could see where you can add on points or delete points. Your eraser, your brush, that's your main ones that you're going to use. You may also use your eyedropper pretty often, your gradient pretty often. So we'll get started with that. Okay, I want you just to select a rectangle. And make it the size of your artboard. If you notice, it's automatically black and white. So this is your fill, and this is called your stroke. If you want to be able to make the stroke bigger, you can come up here to the stroke weight, make it bigger. I'll make it 10. You want to change the color of it, just random color there. There you go. I want to change the background color here. That is ugly, but it's fine. Okay, so say if I want to switch these two, I can swap it just by clicking on this button. If I don't want, say, the stroke, I can click right there and it'll get rid of it. If I need it back, I can click on that, but it's going to automatically set it back down to 1. So I don't have to make it big again. My opacity. So opacity is how see-through it is. So if I want it to be full percent, I just keep it at 100. If for some reason, say I wanted it to be 50% or 18, I can adjust it there. So another big one is our type tool. It automatically does this little saying here, and it automatically puts it at 12 points or pixels, and then regular Myriad Pro. I have a ton of downloaded fonts. You're free to download different fonts, but just pick a random one on here, and then type your name. So I'll type. Yeah, that's really, really small. So I could click there and just naturally make it bigger. Or I could also click here and make it bigger this way. I could center it up, which that really doesn't help much, but I can do that. So right now my fill on it is black. I could also give it a stroke. Say if I want to match to this background, I can use my eyedropper to match it, which for that point is going to be really ugly. There we go. Okay. So that's that. God, this burns my eyeballs. Let's see. I'm like, no thanks. I can make that match. It's a little less bright. So then here on my shapes tool, I can use an ellipse, which is basically a circle. And see, it automatically keeps what we had going on here. So if I want to change that, I can. Get rid of the stroke. So to copy, I can hit Control C, and then so C for cat, and V for vendetta. And then I have 2. If I want to add, say, a gradient on it, I can. Supposed to, but hold on. Sometimes it'll let you shapes it gets kind of weird with, but let's see. Oh, it's trying to do it on the stroke, that's why. There we go. So I can do it there where I have the actual stroke. I can get rid of it. To change my gradient, I can go over here to our gradient panel and do edit gradient so that I can actually change it up. There's different kinds of gradients, so I can do like a radial one, freeform, or linear. Most likely you're going to do linear or radial. So we have our actual tool bar here. We have our properties panel, our libraries panel, and connected to the properties panel is a lot of different tools we use. So our layers panel here is the big one where you can actually go through and see what's going on. So whatever's on top is what we're going to see. So if I move this one on top, now it's going to be the one that's on top. If I move this one on top, now you can see there. So there's that. Again, the opacity, if I want to change that up, is there in the appearance. Say if I accidentally get rid of this or I need to be able to bring something back, I can go to window. And most of the time it's going to be there. So if I want to do that and do appearance, it'll pop it out for us. Let's see. There's a star tool. So again, I can pop up here, or I can go up here and select it and have like different patterns I can do. With our line segment, it's automatically set up to be the 8 points that I had it set at. I can do an arc. Also with my pen tool here. See, I can go and make a shape. Once it's actually closed, then I can't make more points with that. But I can actually take away like that. And these are not fully connected because you can see the two little points there. There we go. You can see there where that's missing the point. Using the curvature, though, I can, hold on, curve it. Now it's an ice cream cone. Also with the curvature, I can have it be there automatically. It will curve for me. There you go. A little bit easier to do it with the circle, but if you need it. I do not use the eraser tool very often. If I just don't want something, I can select it and literally hit delete and it'll go away. And then Control Z undoes. So if I want it back, I just hit Control Z. Okay, so what I want you to do for this one is to play around and fill this board with different like stuff on here. Different shapes, lines, play with your line weight. So like here, if we have a line, make it like that. Take another segment. Play with the style maybe, or the, set it's a different kind of line. Play with that, fill it out. You'll be good to go on that one. Okay, so that's the first tutorial here in Adobe Illustrator.